thing is working. There's been a couple of times where I'm not very good at clicking the right buttons. And yeah, you end up with something not working properly. So let's make sure everything is working properly. There we go. Just making sure the sound was working. The best way to make sure the sound is working is to check it with an external device, to be honest. Okay. Now that we are here, and I've got dogs around me. I don't know which animals are going to appear right now. We've got chickens in the background, and I've got kittens at my feet. So expect also a plane overhead. We have a neighbor who likes to fly a plane. He's got a small runway on his property. And when I say neighbor, he's like mile and a half that way. Like, he's far. My neighbor. But he has a nice little runway on his property, and that's him. He likes to fly around in the afternoons when it's not terrible weather. It's chilly today, but, the rain has stopped for now. Kitten. Okay. Welcome back to Andersen Acres. It's our Halloween special. The one day of the year where the farm gets just a little spooky and I start questioning my life choices. This year, I thought, what this place needs? Inflatable ghosts. You don't see behind me? Inflatable ghosts. I had them. Well, Shadowfax hated them and gave them good kicks. He's not a kicker, so he must have hated them. The chickens thought they were nesting boxes every single time they deflated. Okay, every single time they deflated, because usually these are deflated when it's bright out. Every time the ghosts were deflated, the chickens would turn them into nesting boxes and start laying eggs on them. And then Arwen ate one. So I took them down. No more inflatable ghosts. If we're all going to be that ridiculous, nobody's kicked at the dragon. But if we're just going to be that ridiculous about things, we're just not having them. It's just better. We're just not having them. So basically, business as usual here at the farm. It's been a little insane. And this kitten is one of my favorite kittens. Look at this kitten. Yeah. This is not Doofus. This is a little boy. And no, I'm not keeping him. He's already been chosen. He's not big enough to go to his new home, obviously. Another week or two. But I'm not keeping him. Okay. So it is the 5th week of the month. And the 5th Friday of the month is always something a little bit different anyway. Usually something seasonal, hence Halloween. So we're going to do a cozy, chatty Halloween live stream right here amongst the kitten chaos that I've got under my arm. See? Kitten chaos. So we'll talk about decorations. I'll tell you a couple of Halloween farm stories that we've had over the years. And I'll go over a few tips for keeping your animals safe during the Halloween season. And we'll talk about trick-or-treaters, because we've lived in places both where we get plenty of trick-or-treaters and where we get zero. And when you have trick-or-treaters and farm animals, there are some things to be aware of. So let's start talking. Hi, kittens. And I do have a bunch of questions that people have submitted about Halloween, and I will hopefully get to those. I do have a limited amount of time. It is Halloween, and I always have a limited amount of time on Fridays anyway. But it's seriously a limited amount of time on days like today, where it's also Halloween. So let's get this spooky show on the road. And we're about to have a little guest. Hi, buddy. Hi, my man. I love you. Yes, they're out here with me. They pretty much go everywhere with me, because why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? They are sweet peas. Anyway, so let's talk about decorating the farm. Because decorating a farm for Halloween sounds adorable in theory. In practice, it can get kind of like a horror movie, to be honest. It, stars goats instead of demons, but yeah, it's not always what you expect. So I started by setting up the inflatables. Ghosts, pumpkins, the dragon. There's a couple of skeletons. They're not inflatable skeletons on the deck. There's a bunch of decorations in the front of the house. We decorate for ourselves, not for the people, because we don't really get people here. I mean, people exist here. Of course, people exist. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, hi, sweetheart. But what I'm saying is we don't get trick-or-treaters. So we decorate for ourselves. So when I started setting up the inflatables, you have to be careful with inflatables because sometimes your animals will leave them alone because they're big and noisy, because especially that dragon there, he's really noisy. So sometimes you're fine. And other times, you're going to have someone try to eat something. Pay attention, because if your goats are trying to eat your decorations, take those decorations down. It's not worth the fight. I also have found the chickens nesting on the inflatable pumpkins in addition to the inflatable ghosts that I took down. They also sometimes nest on these pumpkins when they're down during the day. Shadowfax pretty much gives a look at the skeletons and just goes, not my circus, not my monkeys, and walks away. Unless it's the inflatable ghost, then he tries to kick them. Doesn't like them. So this year's theme, we were trying to do a haunted homestead. And I've got like some lights out by the barn that'll come down tomorrow morning, because when you have animals, everything is entirely safe. So sometimes you put something up and you're like, okay, we're just going to do this for a day. So that's what we're doing this morning, is putting up a bunch of decorations, and they will come down tomorrow morning. A lot of our decorations have been up for a couple weeks, but some of them go up today and come down tomorrow. These guys will probably stay up another 2 weeks, and then we'll switch over to the Christmas decorations. It is going to kind of depend on the weather and how the animals react. So, you kind of go with it. But Haunted Homestead was apparently code for everything that will blow a fuse, because, we've been blowing fuses, and that's because I really shouldn't have so many things. Sorry, the cats are knocking things off. But I really shouldn't have so many things plugged into one thing. But I do. Okay? I do. I absolutely 100% have too many things plugged in. But, it's fine. It's festive chaos. It's great. It's excellent. Now, decorating with animals around will teach you patience. You have to accept that nothing will stay where you put it. If you've ever tried to hang cobwebs in a barn, you know that the real cobwebs always win, so don't bother. There's probably real cobwebs in your barn. Just leave them. They're fine. Here's a different kitten. This is a different one. This is a little girl. Yeah. We're playing musical kittens. Kittens are following Vodka around right now. He's trying to get someone to let him in the house where the lady is. Tequila's in heat right now. And Tequila being in heat means Vodka would like the lady, and they can't hang out together without close supervision because they like each other a little too much right now. So he would like to go back in the house because that's where the lady is. The lady would like to come back outside because that's where the gentleman is. No on both counts. Nobody's going anywhere. You can stay here with me, Vodka. Anyway, he's staring down the path now. What is there something behind me going on? I think those are just our chickens, but you can go get them if you want. But I think we're okay. Yeah, he's staring. Oh, geez. I have DK following me now, joining me. Hi. DK's on my back here. Yes, Cat Central. DK's not here all the time, but he is here right now. Meow. There he goes. Okay. Whatever. It's fine. Anyway. So you do have to be patient and careful. And go ahead and drop a comment, because if you've tried to decorate with animals, do you have any pointers or any outright disasters, like a goat eating the inflatable ghost? It happens. Bonus points are involved if it has a goat and an electrical cord in the same sentence, because, that's the way it goes. So when you are decorating, just pay attention to what your animals are doing. Okay, if they're paying too much attention to the decorations, you're going to want to take those down or put them out of reach. Out of reach is relative. So what is out of reach for a dog is not out of reach for your chickens. So you're going to have to really take into account what kind of animals you have and if they are locked up. And can you put lights on your chicken coop? Yeah, maybe, unless your chickens decide that electrical cords are the most fun since sliced bread. Okay, so You do have to be aware of that. So I did say I was going to share a couple of spooky farm stories. So let's talk about a couple of spooky farm stories. Because between flickering lights and weird noises and the occasional midnight rooster crowing, it's not hard to get creeped out. Especially when you have quail, because they sound like little demons. They're weird. One year, the wind was howling so hard, it made the scarecrow literally walk across the pasture. And I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. The wind kicked up so much that it literally just started drifting. Okay, because it wasn't in the ground, it had a stand, and it literally, the whole thing just creepy. But that's one of those moments where you walk out and you go, well, that's it. Apocalypse is here. Scarecrow's coming to life, all that jazz. I'm out of here. And you just go back inside and you just call it a day. Then there was the night the barn door creaked open on its own. That's creepy, especially when you think all the animals are asleep. So you grab a flashlight, ready for the dramatics, and you find out a bunch of quail had escaped and they're now dust bathing right inside the door, and they had just pushed the door open. So you're like, great. And then we have missing pumpkins, or rather destroyed pumpkins you put out, and then they're half eaten. I'm pretty sure it's the chickens, but since I don't catch them in the act, is it the chickens? Probably. And every year I think we've got a thief, and I'm pretty sure that thief is the goat, because my squash has teeth marks. And they suspiciously look like goat teeth marks because they only have one row of teeth. Remember, goats only have one row of teeth on the bottom, not the top. So the bites look suspiciously like goats. So I think she's my squash thief. Well, stop fighting. There's fighting kittens right here. Maybe you guys could stop. Maybe you could stop too. Maybe you could all just stop fighting. They're babies. They don't know any better. Okay. So I did get a question that was about, have you ever seen a ghost on the farm? No. Mostly just dramatic goats. But I wouldn't rule it out. Okay, I would not rule that one out. So let's talk about animal safety. Because animal safety is actually a big deal. Okay. It's serious and sometimes funny, but always serious. So animal safety on the farm is a big deal at Halloween, because Halloween is fun, but it can also be risky for the animals if we're not really careful. Number one, no candy for the animals. I know it's tempting. I know you want to share. I want to share too. But chocolate and xylitol, for example, are really toxic for dogs, and xylitol's in a lot of things. Xylitol is also called birch sugar. It's not bad for you, but the dogs can't handle it, so you can't give it to them. Even the goats shouldn't get into it. If you've ever met a goat, you know they're going to try, but you really shouldn't let the animals have your Halloween candy. I know you want to share, but you can make animal-safe treats for them for Halloween. You don't have to give them your Halloween candy. That's not safe for them anyway. Number two, costumes. Are you going to put costumes on your animals? That's a personal decision. We do bandanas on the dogs sometimes. I don't do full costumes on the dogs. Why won't I do full costumes on the dogs? Because two of our dogs are working livestock guardian dogs. Working livestock guardian dogs are still doing their job on Halloween. It might be Halloween, but the coyotes don't know that. So they're still doing their job. So while I might put a bandana around their neck, a full costume for an animal like a livestock guardian dog would limit their ability to do their job, or it would give a predator a place to grab them, or, all kinds of things. So costumes are a judgment call, but there are certain animals you shouldn't put them on. Don't leave your goats in costume. It's funny to dress up your goats. I've done it. Okay. It's funny to dress up your goats, but don't leave them. Don't leave them. Here's another kitten. Different kitten. Different kitten. They're changing places here. They're kind of just rotating. But goats will start to eat their costume and each other's costumes. So if you are going to put costumes on your goats, yeah, it's fun to do a photo shoot. Kitten just fell. You okay, hon? But it's really fun to do those Halloween photo shoots. Goats will eat stuff. So don't leave your goat in costume. Also, any animal that likes to rub on fencing, they're going to get the costumes caught. So same thing with like the mini horse. We don't leave him in costume. I think right now he's wearing a horn, but that's not going to stay for very long. As soon as Yeah, Tristan's taking it off him. As soon as he goes inside, he takes the horn off. We don't leave him unsupervised with the horn on. We just when we're out. It's fun. It's a light up horn. It's really cute in the dark. I might take some pictures and post them tomorrow. It's really cute in the dark. Hi. Yes, kittens. So if you are going to do costumes, keep them really simple. Make sure they are breathable, not too tight, not a lot of glitter or sequins that they're going to chew off. Also make sure you are looking at the costume for damage, right? Check every time you put it on. Did it get damaged last time or is it fine? Because if it's fine, then you're okay. But if it's already been damaged, then it's probably not safe to put on your animals. I'm not saying you shouldn't put costumes on your animals. I'm saying you got to use really good judgment when you do. Okay. We put some fun stuff on our animals. If you really want something that's safe, find an animal safe, like color or glitter spray and like spray your chicken's tail floof or something, because at least that can't get caught on anything. It won't. So if you really want to be festive, like we sometimes do that with the dog's tails. We'll spray their tails and it looks really cool, but it doesn't present a hazard if they're trying to do their job. So you really have to use really good judgment when it comes to costumes. Number 3, noise and lights. Noise and lights are a big deal at every holiday. Everyone who has pets knows that. So sometimes animals can really spook. If you've got horses that have never seen an inflatable ghost before, they might get pretty freaked out. So you need to be cognizant of that. They might get spooked from flashing lights or creepy music or trick-or-treaters shouting boo. If you have a barn or a coop close to the house, maybe you want to keep festivities away from your barn or coop just because it's not always super safe. Hi, sweetheart. It's another different kitten. This is a different one. They're trading. But you do want to make sure their environment is as safe and calm for them as possible. Some animals are totally fine with the lights and the sounds, and some are great. And some would really rather go camp in the barn while you party. So be really aware of the different needs of your animals, because it's not fair to subject your horse to things that are freaking him out. That only happen one time a year anyway. It's not that serious. So just let him go hang out in the barn while you have a party. I do want to talk about decorations again. I want to go back to think of like tinsely stuff at Christmas, but the Halloween versions. You don't want that. Okay. Every single animal on your farm can ingest it and it can kill them. So none of that. I know it comes in fun colors, the oranges and the greens and the purples, and I know it's fun and it can make your trees look great, but your cats and your dogs and your goats and your horses and your chickens and your turkeys and your ducks, they can all ingest it and it can twist inside them and it can kill them. So skip the tinsely stuff. Okay. It's not edible. And if a goat or chicken swallows it, they could die. If you want to decorate, use things like squash and pumpkins that if your chickens get into, it'll be okay. Like chickens can eat pumpkins and squash. Use zucchinis and eggplants, and we do all kinds of stuff like that. If you can do that, you should do that. It's just better. Vodka is down there barking. Oh, he's getting our chickens. He's sending the chickens home. He doesn't like the chickens being that far away. And also probably the neighbor's dog is there. They come that way. They come that way. So I might have to go and check. If I end up having to walk away during the live stream, it's because of Vodka doing something down there and I have to go check. Sometimes you have to check. Right? Sometimes you do. But he seems okay right now. I think he's just sending the chickens back. So if you have to decorate animal areas, use animal safe stuff like pumpkins and squash and things like that. That way, if it gets eaten, it's not that big a deal. A note about trick-or-treaters. Most of your animals, Vodka is down there. Hi, Vodka. Most of your animals are not going to appreciate trick-or-treaters. They don't like it. If you live in an area where you are going to get trick-or-treaters, either turn your lights off so people don't come to your door. There's no shame in not participating. If you're not going to participate, it's not a big deal. Nobody will judge you for it. It's okay not to hand out candy. But turn your lights off. That way nobody comes to your door, and then you don't really have to be that aware, right? Hi, Vodka. Good boy. Hi. Okay, here's a kitten. You want a kitten? No. Vodka did not want a kitten. Anyway, it's okay to just flick your lights off. Just hit the lights. Don't worry about it. If you do want to hand out candy and you have, for example, livestock guardian dogs, you're going to want to lock them up. Should you have to? Not necessarily, but we're talking kids, right? We're talking kids are trick-or-treating, and some of those kids are going to be afraid of dogs, and your livestock guardians are awfully big dogs, and a lot of them are not friendly with strangers. I mean, Vodka would never hurt a child, but I don't blame a child for being afraid of him. So if we were going to have trick-or-treaters, we would 100% make sure that the dogs were locked up. We live very far out. At our old location, we got trick-or-treaters. At this location, we're literally the only ones down the road. Like, there's no other reason. That's why we have so little traffic on our road. There's really not a lot of reason to come down this way because it's only us. If you're not coming to visit us, there's a cemetery if you go far enough, but we're not going to get trick-or-treaters. So we're not going to worry about it. At our old location, we had to. Make sure that if you do have animals close to the front of your property where trick-or-treaters come, put those animals away, because what you really do not want is trick-or-treaters messing with your animals. They might not mean anything bad by it. Okay? They might not mean anything bad. But, and this is a big one, it is still important that you make sure your animals are safe, because it's entirely possible that someone will accidentally hurt. It might be deliberate, but it's probably an accident. Someone might accidentally injure one of your animals, or they might feed them something. So if you have, for example, your goat pen is at the front of your property and trick-or-treaters are walking past, well, trick-or-treaters might feed them a couple pieces of candy. Well, what if they feed your dog xylitol? It's not a great plan. So make sure your animals are not accessible to trick-or-treaters, because yes, sometimes people do mean things, but a lot of times it's just ignorance. They don't know. Or it's a little kid wanting to share something. Well, little kids do stupid things. I mean, I'm a parent. Little kids do stupid things. So just make sure that there's a leaf on a cat. Just make sure that your animals are safe for the night. It's just a better plan. Finally, I want to talk about glow sticks. Okay? I want to talk about glow sticks, because glow sticks are adorable for kids, bad for goats, bad for all of your animals. Go this way then. It's like one cat biting another cat. It's like, just go over that way. We have acres to roam, and they stand here and bite each other. It's like, if you don't want them to bite you, just move. Like, just go somewhere else. So glow sticks. You know what? Cute glowing stick. Yeah, I like forbidden celery, right? Your animal's going to want to eat it. Fun. However, they have glass inside. That's what, when you do the cracking, you know how you crack your glow sticks, right? You crack your glow sticks to make them glow, because they don't glow, and then you crack, and they glow. What you're cracking is glass, because it's actually a chemical reaction. So part of the chemicals are on the outside of the glass tube, part are on the inside. You break the glass tube, and the chemicals mix. Now, the chemicals themselves are non-toxic. That's not the dangerous part. It's the glass that's now inside the tube, the broken glass that's inside that plastic tube. So do not let your animals anywhere near those glow sticks, okay? Especially your goats, because they'll chew on them, because chewing on plastic is like the best thing in the world. They don't know there's glass in there. They don't know what glass is. So, yeah, definitely keep the glow sticks away from your animals, most especially goats, but everybody, your pigs and your dogs shouldn't have them either. So glow sticks, lock them up. If you do dress your animals up, I'd love to hear about it. What do you dress your animals up as? Usually we just use bandanas. Shadowfax gets to be a unicorn. The white chickens get a quick spritz of either glitter or some kind of color, just to make them look fun for the evening. It wears off by tomorrow morning. So it's just for, it's fun for the evening. But we don't do a ton of big costumes for the animals. We do it for ourselves because it's fun. We have wigs and makeup, and it's a lot of fun over here for the evening. But we don't do a lot for the animals. If you do, I'd love to hear about it. Okay? Extra points if your animal costume survived more than 5 minutes. Now, I do have some questions that were submitted ahead of time. A lot of them are about the farm, animal safety, that kind of thing, around Halloween. Some of them are about Halloween baking and things like that. So I do have a bunch of those questions. If you have a question you want me to answer in a live stream, but you can't come to the live stream because I stream at a very weird time of day, I know. I'm very aware that I stream at an odd time of day, and a lot of people can't watch it live, so they watch on the replay, which is fine. That's why I leave them up. If you do have a question you want me to answer, you can either send it to me on Facebook, which is probably the best way for me to see it, or you can drop it in the comments down below on this video or another video. It doesn't matter. I do gather them up. And if I miss your question, send it to me again, because sometimes I delete my Facebook Messenger just because I'm annoyed at Facebook that day, and so I delete my messenger and all my messages disappear. Sometimes I just get annoyed at Facebook. It's not my fault. Anyway, not the point. So I do have 30 or 40 questions that I curated that I'm going to go through. So the first one was, what's your favorite Halloween treat to bake on the farm? Pumpkin bread, probably. I bake it all fall because I have so much pumpkin. It can be a breakfast or a dessert, or it doesn't matter. I have so much pumpkin because I have so many pumpkins. So yeah, probably pumpkin bread. Have you ever tried keeping your carved pumpkins safe from your goats and chickens? How do you do it? I haven't figured it out yet. No idea. Absolutely no idea. I carve a pumpkin and the chickens are on it, or the goat eats half of it. It's fine. They're going to get them eventually anyway. Do you think chickens appreciate Halloween decor or just judge it silently? Chickens are judgy. Not as judgy as the ducks. So yeah, they're judging you. That's just the way it is. If you could make a Halloween treat from farm ingredients only, what would it be? Caramel apples. We have apple trees and little goat's milk, and you can make a great caramel. It's fantastic. I know it sounds weird, but it's very, very good. A goat's milk fudge, a goat's milk caramel is better than you think. It is so good. And yeah, I would recommend goat's milk caramel on apples to anyone. If you don't like biting into an entire apple, then slice it and then dip it in the caramel and then put your nuts and stuff on. It's fantastic. Ever had a ghost story happen in the barn? Not really, just the sound of angry ducks at 3 a.m. because something woke them up. Usually the goat. What's the weirdest thing an animal has done during trick-or-treating? One year when Shadowfax was out at our old location, he was walking up beside a bunch of kids down the driveway like a butler. He was walking back and forth. It's like, get back in the pen. It's Halloween. I don't want you getting on the road and getting hit. We used to live at a location where there was a road much closer to the house. Not closer to the house than this, but it was a highway. So it was more dangerous, much more dangerous. And so we didn't want him out on Halloween, but he wasn't out on Halloween, and we didn't notice for a while. And that was the weirdest thing he's ever done. Hi, sweetie. This is my doofus. That's doofus. Look at how much smaller she is than the others. She's really little. She's not going anywhere. She's my baby. The others are going to be ready to go home probably next weekend. She is still she's 7 weeks old. She's too little. The others are growing. She's not. That's okay. We talked about that last night. Okay. Pumpkin spice, love it or hate it? I am indifferent. I like pumpkin spice, but I don't love it or hate it. It's a seasonal personality trait, and I'm okay with that. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, that's fine too. Eat what you like. What animals do you think would win best costume on the farm? Probably Shadowfax, because when I can get them to keep them on, I have these wings and I put a horn on them that makes them look absolutely awesome. So yeah, he looks great. Ever baked pumpkin treats for your animals? Yes. The goats prefer just to eat the actual pumpkin, but I have baked pumpkin treats for them. I made pumpkin cookies for the animals the other night. All animal safe ingredients, lots of pumpkin. A little bit of flour just to, hold everything together, and then baked for a little bit. But they were really good. They were human safe too. I mean, humans could eat them too. So they were good. What's the creepiest farm sound after dark? Probably the wind whipping through the trees outside my bedroom window, just because the way the trees move when they get hit by the wind. It can get really creepy. Have you ever done a Halloween photo shoot with the animals? Yes. I got the bruises to prove it, but I will try to post some pictures if I can find them. It was a couple years ago now. I will try to post a few pictures if I can find the photos. I think that was during the pandemic, so it was like 5 years ago, and everyone was in lockdown anyway, and we had nothing else to do. So we couldn't go anywhere or do anything, so we were doing some really funny things that winter because we couldn't go anywhere. So yeah, I'll see if I can dig up the pictures. They were on an older phone, so I've had 2 new phones since then. So I'll see if I can dig them up because it was funny. What's one Halloween decoration you've given up on using? The ghosts, the inflatable ghosts that were here. They're fine with inflatables, but they were not fine with the inflatable ghosts. I took them down. They're done. They'll be put somewhere away from the animals. It's just not going to work. One of them got eaten. So yeah, that did not work. Most of the inflatables are fine. It was just something about that inflatable ghost set. It just wasn't working. Do the animals react to Halloween music? Shadowfax likes music, whether it's Halloween or not. So when there's music on, he'll come because we play music from the gazebo. We have one of those Google Nest speakers. So what we do is we just tell it to play seasonal music, and it'll play Halloween or Christmas or whatever it is. And they'll have a great time. And Shadowfax likes to come right up to the barn, to the gazebo, because he likes music. So I don't think he's Halloween music specifically. He spent a lot of time up here this season because I've been playing a lot of music. But I think it's just that he likes music. He's a music lover. No big deal. Do you have a favorite fall crop to harvest? Pumpkins. I love me some pumpkin pie, and you can't make pumpkin pie without the pureed pumpkin. And to get the pureed pumpkin, I have to grow the pumpkins and then harvest the pumpkins and then prepare the pumpkins. I love pumpkin pie, so therefore pumpkins are my favorite fall thing to harvest. What's your go-to comfort bake? Pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie. And I've started doing it. We all are used to pumpkin pies in those round pie plates. I've started baking it in a big square cake pan because that's how much pumpkin pie I eat. I love pumpkin pie. That's like, I could eat that every day of the week. I'm happy to have it. So yeah, I've started baking it in a really big sheet pan. I make mine with a lot of cinnamon and a lot of nutmeg and a lot of cloves, and it's very, very strong. So yeah, pumpkin pie is my thing. Have you ever lost a decoration to a goat? Yes, it happened earlier today. It was the ghost. One of the ghosts. It was a set of inflatable ghosts, and one of them is non-existent because of our one. So yes. What's the most haunted spot on your property? The barn, only because they're always sitting in there plotting against me. Yes, they are. So yeah, it's the barn. Just get off of that. Sorry. There's cats jumping on my stuff. Hi, sweetie. Okay. I just have to put my foot on my tripod because DK's been weaving in and out of it, and it's going to fall over. Anyway, do your animals notice trick-or-treaters? Absolutely. The dogs are guard dogs. They notice. So we're not going to get any out here. I have some candy just in case, but we will keep the dogs in the house during kind of trick-or-treating time. We're not going to get any. We have been here. This is our 3rd Halloween here, and we haven't ever had a trick-or-treater, and we're never going to. But we have some chocolate bars just in case, some microwave popcorn and, just in case. There's chicken. Hi, sweetie. So, yeah, I mean, the dogs will notice because they're guard dogs. The ducks might follow them because the ducks are in this mood lately where they follow everybody, and it's like a parade. Favorite spooky movie to watch after chores? Depends on my mood. Tonight, it's going to be Hocus Pocus. Yes, I am. Either depending on the calendar, the years you use, I'm either a young Gen X or an older millennial. Hocus Pocus is my jam. So Hocus Pocus is the movie tonight. But it depends on the mood when it comes to that. Have you ever done a Halloween-themed farm bake sale? I did a Halloween-themed market with a bunch of other vendors. So we did that a couple years ago. That was fun. We decided not to do it this year because Halloween's not actually on a weekend. I think next year we'll probably do it because Halloween will be on a weekend. But we kind of didn't want to do it on a weekday. It's a lot of work because, when you're doing a Halloween carnival market, you kind of have to set up the carnival side of it. And it's a lot of work. So we decided not to do it this year. But we might do it again. Which farm animal would make the best ghosts? Chickens. They vanish when you need to catch them. That's vodka again. Yeah, I think the neighbor's dogs are way down at that end, and he's just telling them to screw off because, someone's gotta. And when I say neighbor's dogs, they're not that close, but the dogs come because they want to eat our chickens. That's okay. That's why vodka exists, right? Yes, and now I have the mama cat and the baby cats. I got mama and 4 babies. There are 6 babies, but the other 2 are over there. I can see them. Oh, now one of them's coming. I'm about to have 5 babies on my lap with a mama cat. This is the mama cat. That's mama. Or we could just stop growling about it. Yeah, you guys are good cats. Yeah, good cats. They are good cats. Okay, back to the questions that I have. I have too many cats on my lap. I love these cats, though. These are my cats. Okay, what question was I on? Thank you, Vodka. He's like right here barking at me now. What's your favorite Halloween smell? Campfires, the bonfires. We burn a lot in the fall because it's chilly and we want to stay warm. Who is growling? You? Then get off. Whichever kitten is growling gets booted off my lap. That's the way it works. Yeah. So, I like the smell of the bonfires we light. We have bonfires 3-4 times a week in the fall because it's cold and we still want to be outside. So, that's probably my favorite smell. Also, baking pumpkin pie. That moment right when it's done and you can suddenly smell all the herbs through the kitchen. That's a good moment. Do you decorate the barn too? Not the inside. I've tried in the past, and you have to know whatever you put inside the barn when there are chickens and goats, you're going to lose it. So I've tried in the past. These days, I do put lights on the outside of the barn for Halloween and for Christmas, but I'm not going to try to decorate the inside again. When you try at the beginning, but it never works. So, you try, it'll work. What's your favorite spooky plant to grow? Well, that's a good question. There's lots of different plants that are spooky. Some plants come in really good colors that are spooky. If I had to pick one spooky... Who's growling? That one. I like to take whatever kitten is growling and boot them off my lap because there's always one, and it's usually a boy. Yeah, it's usually a boy. Don't worry, Whiskey, I'll save you. Well, just walk away, Whiskey. If you don't want to be near the kittens, don't be. Okay, where were we? Favorite spooky plant? Probably a black hollyhock, to be honest. They're really pretty, and they're kind of moody, and they're kind of dark. So, yeah, I like black hollyhocks. Have you ever tried making pumpkin butter? I have some in the fridge right now. Pumpkin butter is great. You take your butter and you add pumpkin in it to taste, pureed pumpkin, and you add your cinnamon and your nutmeg and your cloves, again, to taste. Taste it as you go, and it's fantastic on toast or on pancakes or on high sweethearts or basically anything. If the goats could trick or treat, what would they ask for? Well, they would just eat the entire treat bowl. They don't need any more than that. That's what they're going to do. Have you ever had an animal photobomb your Halloween selfie? There's always an animal somewhere in the background of something. There's even chickens back there. So if I tried to take a selfie, there's chickens behind me. There's, So yes, anytime I try to take a picture, Halloween or otherwise, there's an animal in it, even if I don't want there to be. What's your favorite fall drink? I like cider. I like a good, don't help me. I like a good cider. Nice and spiced mulled. I like a good cider. How long do your Halloween decorations survive? 12 minutes. No. We don't have them up very long. Like these ones will stay up a little bit longer because the animals leave these ones alone. But a lot of the lights and stuff will come down by morning because it's not worth the risk to the animals. So we don't leave them up long enough for the animals to damage them. If I notice the animals are taking too much interest in a particular decoration, it comes down or it gets moved just because it's not worth the risk to the animals. If you could make a Halloween themed soap or candle, what would it smell like? I do make Halloween scented soaps and candles. I make my own soaps and candles all the time. Usually I make them smell like pumpkin pie. I like pumpkin pie. Sometimes I'll go and do some apple scented ones because I do like apples. Especially the smell of apples in the fall is really nice. So it's either pumpkin or apple. What's the weirdest thing you've ever found inside a carved pumpkin? A cat. A frog. I did find a cat, but the funniest thing was probably a frog. I went to light the candle, took the top off, went to, put my lighter in, and there's a frog in there. I'm like, well, okay. Probably hiding from the ducks. Our ducks are kind of brutal with frogs. They like to eat them. So good place to hide, though. That can get you in there. Do you give your animals any special fall treats? Well, it's fall, so they get like leftover apples and pumpkin and squash scraps and all that kind of stuff. All of the stuff, when you're prepping your food to preserve it, like I make a lot of purees, like pumpkin puree that I can use through the winter. There are scraps with all of that, and the animals get all of that. So they love fall because when I'm cutting up apples or anything, they get all of the waste because I don't want to throw it out, and they might as well eat it. It's edible. It's just not what I'm using. So they get a lot of treats in the fall. Have you ever had to chase an animal that was wearing part of a Halloween costume? Yeah, usually it's a goat. That's why we stopped putting so many costumes on our goats. It's not always a good plan. Hi guys, and Jake's coming back. Jake's the mama cat. I know, I love you all. Yes, I do. I know. They're very loud cats, but that's because their mama is part Siamese. Anyone who knows anything about Siamese cats? Yak, 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 yak. So the kittens, yak, 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 yak. Very loud. There's a cat inside my blanket, but okay. Favorite Halloween memory on the farm? There was a year where I got a witch hat and I cut holes in it for Shadowfax's ears. And so I stuck it on his head. I just wanted a couple of pictures of him walking around with a witch hat on. That would be funny. He would not take a step. Like the second you put the hat on, it's like, I can't move. I am frozen in place. He literally, he was like, I stand. And it was pretty funny. I took the hat off because it wasn't going to work for what I wanted it to do anyway. But yeah, it was pretty funny. That one will always stick with me. This crazy little mini horse, you stick a hat on him and all of a sudden he's like, no, I cannot. Very funny. I finished that page. I have my questions on here, by the way. So yeah, that most of you watch this on the replay. Submit your questions on Facebook or drop them in a comment, and I will try to get to them. There's a kitten under my arm. What is your least favorite Halloween cleanup chore? Untangling the lights from the trees. So I spend time tangling lights into the trees every fall, and then I take them off. And the untangling is never as much fun as the original tangling. Untangling them is pretty annoying. I've got a cat under this arm now, too. This cat. Yes. Yes, you guys are all good cats. If you could plant one magic Halloween plant, what would it be? Something that doesn't exist. I'd probably plant a candy corn tree, not because I like candy corn, because I don't, but because I use it to decorate literally everything. Everywhere from September till about mid-November, if I'm making cupcakes, they have candy corn on them. Cakes, they have candy corn. The cake cookies, they have candy corn. So if I had a candy corn tree, I wouldn't have to worry about it. But I don't even like candy corn, so that's silly, but you know. Do you do any Halloween crafts or baking with your kids? Always have. When they were younger, it was really, really messy. They're older now, so it is a lot easier to, you know, delegate tasks, and you put the cookies in the oven, you rolling, and it's easier now that they're older. When they were younger, icing and dough, coating the kitchen. They were little. What's the best pumpkin? I can't talk. What's the best pumpkin variety for carving? It depends what you're after. I like a Cinderella pumpkin, but that has nothing. That's not actually a good carving pumpkin. I just like the shape. It's not a great carving pumpkin because they're, but I like them for that. Howden pumpkins are pretty good. Look for something that is fairly big, that has fairly thick walls, and has the color you want. So you can get pumpkins in a lot of different colors. Some of them are really vibrant orange, some of them are paler, some are white. But you want to look for something that has a decent thick wall, especially if you're going to do intricate carving, because if it's too thin and you cut away too much of the pumpkin, it's just going to collapse. The thick walls do kind of support that pumpkin. Yes, we do a lot of pumpkin carving. Ever had trick-or-treaters react to the animals? Yes. Most of the trick-or-treaters love the animals. Once in a while, you will have someone who's afraid. And that's legitimate. Kids can be afraid of what they've never seen before. So they might see a miniature horse and they've never seen a horse at all. So that could scare them. Dogs, especially if they're barking, can scare little kids. So just be cognizant of that around this time of year. Even your decorations could scare kids. So just be aware. It's not nice to scare the heck out of children. And what are your plans for the day after Halloween? Recover. Take down most of the decorations, except for probably these two guys. Hit the pumpkins with a couple of sledgehammers so that we can break them up for the goats and the chickens. And eat candy, because we have a bunch of candy in case we get trick-or-treaters, but we're not going to get any trick-or-treaters, so we're going to have a lot of candy. So tomorrow's candy day. It might as well be. Anyway, I am just looking at the time, and it is Halloween, and yes, I've got people arriving. I have got to go. So that is going to be about it for me here today at Andersen Acres. I was going to get to some more questions. I simply don't have time. So I gotta go. But drop a comment if you're watching this on the replay with your questions, and I'll try to get to them next week. We go live every Friday afternoon. I know it's an inconvenient time, and most of you have to watch it on the replay. That's okay. I don't mind people watching it on the replay. That's why I leave the videos up. But if you have a question, you can leave it in the comments below, and I will try to get to it at some point in the next few weeks. But I have got to go, and I've got more kittens. Meow. I've got kittens everywhere. Anyway, hopefully you had fun. I always have fun, but I gotta go. So we'll see you tomorrow. It's just, hey, these are our decorations. We love them. And I know, guys. Getting up with 6 kittens on your lap. Here, grab a kitten. That's a kitten.